Hey everyone, welcome in. Betsports Golf here for the Baycurrent, artist formerly known as the Zozo. Small field, no cut. Starts in a couple hours. Andy, what's going on?
Yeah, that was the thing. It not only starts tonight, but there's a typhoon. And I had to Google this because I felt like in my mind of minds, I'm like, it's the same thing, right? It's not different. I do think in the southern hemisphere, they rotate the other way, but a typhoon is a hurricane. And this one is a big one. Anyone familiar with hurricane parlance? It is a category 4, essentially. It is the same wind speed and intensity. So this is a big one. And it's not going to directly hit the island, but it's strumming along next to whatever island is the biggest island in Japan. I don't know the names of anyone except Okinawa, which is funny because that Okinawa is like, I mean, that's like their Rhode Island. It's so little, like compared to the rest of the mainland of Japan. Don't know the name of the big island, but that's the one we're on. This course is pretty close to a sizable bay on that side, on the Pacific side of the island. And there's going to be some nasty winds. There's going to be some heavy winds, heavy rain. Mm-hmm. Course is going to play wet. So something to watch for. And my main point there was they moved tee times up by 2 hours because of said hurricane/typhoon. So it was originally going to be like 7:45 Eastern tonight that it starts. It's actually 5:45 Eastern. So you're talking about like 7 hours from when we record this. We probably should have done this yesterday, but it's the Zozo. We're just going to get some quick thoughts out, talk about this.
We probably should have.
We should have, would have, could have, but you know what? I have other stuff going on Tuesdays, and if you're really wanting some Baycurrent stuff, we'll talk about it for a little bit. I made a few bets. I found a few guys, and there is kind of a fun argument based on the weather, based on maybe you want to talk about that distance versus accuracy, but then we do have history here with the Japanese tour. They've played here recently-ish. We've seen bigger events here on the Asian tour, Japanese tour. So we know a little bit about this course, but the way it's going to be so wet, it actually may play a lot longer because we're not going to get the rollout where, hey, we said accuracy might matter a little here over distance. I'm kind of leaning back towards distance, probably putting it at about 50-50 because it's going to play pretty long based on the current conditions. That's kind of my whole thesis for the week. Give me some ball strikers.
Kind of the same. So we haven't, like you said, this is a new course because we typically, the Zozo's, somewhere else. So like you said, I think it was 2017, 2018, the Japan event was held here. So we don't have a lot of data. They didn't put out the course sheet that they typically do. Ron was, doing his best to search the ends of the internet to try to find out as much as he could about Yokohama Country Club. I believe it is a kind of a composite. There's a west and an east course. They're playing primarily on the west, I believe. I think 16 of the 18 holes are west. And again, you can go over to betsportsgolf.com, read Ron's previews, breaking all that down here. I think it's a small field, 78 players in the field, no cut event. And part of, again, it's a co-sanctioned event. So part of that 78 is also from the Japan tour as well. So doesn't mean that they aren't going to win or that they can't win. It just is an even smaller field when you're trying to think of outright winners, actual true contenders who can go out here and win a golf tournament, no cut event with, a decent top of the board as we typically see here. This event usually gets a decent look. And there's some good players here. And we also have it's a core Crenshaw design, and we've put together some redesign. Yeah. So it's been around for a while, but the redesign, they put together some fantastic golf courses. There are some corollaries in terms of how those courses have been set up, which kind of flies in the face of how we typically think of Japan golf, right? It's a little island. There's a lot of people there. They like to have, a lot of golf courses. They have a lot of like multi-hole greens. They've kind of get rid of that stuff. It's a little bit, I think, a little bit wider, a little bit more friendly off the tee than some of the confined places that we typically play here historically. So kind of that goes back to your point too, maybe a little bit more ball striking and maybe a little bit more distance than just pure accuracy guys. So it's a little bit challenging here too. So again, it's going to play as a par 71, 73 and change from the tips. Unique hole design, more par fours. So 13 par fours.
13 par fours, which I don't know that I've ever seen that.
Leaning on par four scoring is part of the model that I built here this week.
A lot of the expert models, and one of Ron's main focus points in his key stats in this article is par four birdie or better rate. A lot of them are longish because we talk about how long this course is, especially yards per par for a 71. And yeah, if you see the overhead shots of this, it looks a lot like Arashino or whatever we talked about, where we played previous events at the Zozo, except for obviously the time we had to play in California because people were just not going to travel to Asia that year. Go back and look up what happened in 2020. But it is wider, and it is a little more acceptable to be a little squirrely off the tee, I think, because of the width. But you get those shots from above. It's like, oh man, this is a tight, tree-lined parkland. It looks that way, and then you dig in and you find out, it's long, it's wide. Tricky greens, I believe, is maybe going to come into play. I don't know that it's something I lean on. I think we didn't name for this. It's not a key stat that I'm using to drive who I think should be near the top of the list or drive who I'm going to bet. But it's like the opposite of that, where if you're really, really, really shitty at this, it kind of takes away more than I need you to be great at this. I need you to be okay. I need you to have okay hands around the green because they're tricky greens. It's longer. You're going to be hitting longer irons into these. You're not going to hold all of these greens. They're medium sized.
Maybe you are if there's a typhoon rolling in, though.
Yeah, right? That's the thing. If it's soft as shit, maybe you absolutely are. But I mean, if I'm just saying, maybe it's not holding the green. Maybe it's just missing the green because it's such a long shot, and you end up off in some of these collection areas and whatnot. You're going to need a little bit of around the green play. Your short game is going to come into play here a little bit because
it's all shaved on
tricky greens.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. You get the false fronts. You got weird tiers. You got the mounded. Mounded is a bit of a overstatement. Turtlebacks.
Yeah, the turtlebacks is definitely a staple of the core Crenshaw redesigns for sure. So Zoysia fairways, bent grass greens, as Andy's mentioning too. Rough, not super penal, probably around 3, could be closer to 2.5. Again, not something that's going to be really problematic, especially if they are softer. I do think the shaved runoffs, around the green play is going to be interesting. But again, we don't have an idea of how frequently that's going to play a factor, right? It could be a situation where if these are playing really soft, if you're not hitting greens and reg at a really high rate, maybe you're drawing dead. We just don't have the data piece on that too. So I would incorporate it. Look at, you can go into shot type. You can see how guys scramble around the green. You can look at around the green proximity from short grass. I would definitely look at it this week, and I would hone in specifically on the short grass piece because that's how the course is designed. So yeah, there's a lot of guessing, a lot of feel this week too. Doesn't look like there's going to be a huge bucket of approach shots that we need to be leaning on to, just kind of like overall approach play, overall ball striking, who's playing pretty good right now, who's in good form. If you want to break out to bent grass putting, I'm guessing probably based off of what we saw in the Japan tournament years ago, I'm thinking maybe high teens as a winner. Maybe that's, maybe it's even lower if these are really soft. That would kind of be my guess from an overall score standpoint.
Yeah, I'm kind of going towards the 21 range for a guess score based on what we saw at that Japanese event however many years ago, and kind of how they set it up, and giving him an extra 3 strokes because it looks like it's going to be pretty soft. I guess it's long, but also, and no offense to the Japanese tour, but obviously a much stronger field. This is the strongest field you ever get during the swing season for the most part. Maybe outside of what we had at Ryder Cup joined Procore, just because Scotty Scheffler's not playing a lot of swing season events and happened to go to Napa, which was very much an outlier. So as Ryan mentioned, it is a short field, small field, no cut. So 78 golfers, not a lot of guys to choose from. And again, I'm not completely throwing these guys out, but some of the players from the Japanese tour, that not going to be as competitive as obviously some of these guys who are, they just came from Ryder Cup teams and stuff. You had Xander here. Not that Xander's been playing great. Xander has no wins. I joked about that with why I bet Brian Campbell because everyone else is doing it. First off, peer pressure. I'd feel horrible if everyone had Campbell and I didn't.
True, you got to be
But,
on a Campbell wagon anytime that's leaving town.
You go look at the top 3 on the betting board. Campbell has more 2025 wins than those 3 men combined. Kurt Kitayama, the only one with a I think it was Kitayama, Matsuyama, and Sander at the top.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's bring up the rabbit hole here. We got Chris Goddard, and if you look, we're defaulting. It defaults to 6 months all rounds, and we got Vince Whaley, Mark Hubbard above the fold, which you don't typically see a lot. But yeah, decent overall, decent field overall. You said I kept my model pretty simplistic. I would say just some like rolling strokes gained total, rolling strokes gained ball striking, par 4 scoring, leaned a little bit on proximity on, around the green on short grass. And that was kind of it. Did you build a model? Do we have a model in here?
I leaned on yours and Ron's for the most part. Well, yours wasn't up yet. I looked at Ron's and I looked at PGA Touts. I kind of had it in my head. I had some guys I liked already. I had some key stats. I looked at them and got the confirmation bias I needed and bet my guys. Like, there you go, Kitayama at the top. He's the guy I bet of the shorter priced players.
Yeah. I like Kitayama here too. Didn't bet him, but I like him. This is Ron's model. PGA Splits 101. Kurt Kitayama, Patrick Fishburne, Xander Schauffele, Rico Hoey, Nikolai Højgaard, Thor, Morikawa, Whaley, Hubbard. Crack on Whaley and Hubbard, and here they are in the top 10. Then Griot. Some other names kind of towards the top of the board with Woodland, Putnam, Siwoo, Decky, Mitchell, all kind of in that top 15. Higo choked it away. 17. Interesting to see people want to go back there. So Horschel also back. Billy Ho back in the field. Good to see Billy. Got to get ready for the TGL season here to defend the title there. So he's going to get the game back. So this is just a tune-up for TGL, I'd imagine.
TGL, I don't really follow what's going on, but I think they're having some sort of design contest for new holes, and then there's some sort of bracket going on where I don't know if people are voting or what's happening, but they're introducing some new holes. So maybe it's not just going to be all pick your plunder this year. I do love TGL. I watch a lot of TGL.
It's just nice to have on the backgrounds.
It's one of those things where I get mad when something happens and I have to get up and miss part of a Monday Night Football game. Like, I want to watch every play. Where it's like TGL, if I miss, the lava hole once in a while, I had to go do something. Such is life. Maybe that's something they can learn from last year's. They don't need to be quite that long. Like, you could compress it a little. We don't need the 20-minute break in between the two sections, although it was fun. So I will be watching TGL. I have another, I'll push this towards the end, but I have another question for you regarding something similar. Did you bet any of these guys in this top page?
Yes, I did. Let's take a look at Ron's. Well, I'll pull my model. I didn't toe the line. Oh, Mayo's in with the model here after. When this happened, I kind of felt like my hand was forced a little bit. Wasn't sure what to do with it, but yeah, Thor came out on top of the model, flop lagging things a little bit. Was back on for Thor here. Ball striking last week. I was really good. Just the punter wasn't great. Also flop lag on Griot. So Thor at 30. Griot at 50. I like Kitayama. You can see he grades out well. Got her up. If it ends up being, bombing and ball striking, Kitayama and got her up, I think are great looks. So I'd like that play for you. Siwoo, I thought, looking at the field when it came out over the weekend, that Siwoo would be interesting to me. It's just really short price. Couldn't get there. And then the last one for me is a little bit longer. I actually was back and forth. I like Mac Meisner a little bit. And he's actually playing some good golf and modeled decently, but I also went with Austin Eckroat was my third. So Eckroat at 70. If it ends up being a little bit more of a controlled distance situation, decent short game, and I like the number at 70 on Eckroat. So Thor 30, Griot at 50, Ekro at 70 are my 3 bets.
Yeah, and I joke, smaller bet on Campbell at 300. Like, don't go nuts with that. That's just a fun one because the rest of the world decided also bet him. I took Kitayama at 25. I found a 25 and change.
It's a good price.
Obviously, just he's one of the better golfers in the field. He can win a tournament. He's current form, ball striking, tee to green, off the tee, everything that's not putting is elite. And if he's punching them close and these greens are nice and slow, makes it a little easier maybe to read some of this stuff. We're not getting the huge breaks. You can hit it a little harder. I think he could be just fine putting. His short game isn't terrible either around the green. I bet Gorilla,
Nice.
another one we're just wizard with the irons. Great. I think he's going to be fine with the long irons. He's long enough too where I'm not worried about some of the, not the best off the tee, but still top half here. He's good.
Yeah,
he was 50. Rico Hoey, just because he's my guy. Another one, no short game to be spoken of. Hopefully it's wet and it helps him out a little, but another one where it's just like elite ball striker. Give me an elite ball striker here at 50-1, and I think he can get in the mix. Just needs to putt okay. And then the opposite, 150, 144. Andy Putts, Andrew Putnam, my long shot. Didn't hate this one. Not as good off the tee, obviously, but still a decent enough irons player that I think, maybe if it does turn into a little bit of a putting contest, which I think is the third most likely thing we get. And I think it does turn into just throwing darts. Who's best at mid to long irons right now, and just throw some darts. But Andrew Putnam was a kind of a long shot I liked here. He's played some decent golf at decent times, and again, it's not a course I know a ton about at this point. He played at Pepperdine though, so
it's true.
It's close, about as close.
Same ocean.
I mean, just not a form guy, obviously, if you go back and look. But when he's played in some bad fields, he's spiked some decent results.
You should have gone with Thigala too, also Pepperdine. Just play the Pepperdine angle.
Yeah.
I saw the Pepperdine.
If I could go back and do it all over again, I don't know what it would have cost. Probably more than South Dakota State because I had reciprocity. But boy, if you want to go to college, you can do worse than Malibu.
Yeah, for sure. I saw that Thigala was like on the most tipped list. Just very surprising to me. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think the price was, I'm assuming, part of it, but I'm just guessing that, at some point someone doing content, I don't know if Mayo pushed it out. I'm curious if someone that's, driving the content wagon pushed out, early Thigala that got people on board, because that was surprising to me to see. I'm not saying he can't win. Rooting for Thigala to get back up top, just like I'm rooting for Max to get back up on top, but haven't seen it. I've seen it more recently from Max than I have from Scythe. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys here. Like, it's like I want to see Adam Scott play well. I like Adam Scott as a golfer. I want to see Gary Woodland get back to where he's been. Homa too.
Love that.
Homa's.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys like that would be fun to play well. Gary Higo bounced back after an almost he's playing. So not
Didn't
a lot else.
Colin Morikawa.
No, he's dead to me. His career's over. 2 fake majors during pandemic times. Never was a good golfer. He was the best irons player for like 24 months in a row. Like,
he's still been really good.
He's still really good. It's just he can't put it all together right now. I find it troubling that he has to like defend his comments. That's dumb. Some of the like he incited a riot at Bethpage by saying he wanted chaos. I think it's very apparent what they wanted. They wanted loud American fans backing them, and they wanted home field advantage. I don't think he ever said, "I would like you to yell slurs at at Rory." So it's silly. Like, some of this stuff is so silly these days, where I guess you got to ask him the questions and you get your headline then.
I mean, this is not really falling off the approach.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, just it's these, bright red putting, right? The stuff at the top is feeding into the stuff at the bottom. That's making it pretty gross. So yeah, not bad. Still getting it done with the approach. You know, adding some ball speed, just not enough to keep up with the rest of the world.
It'll be, and again, it'll be interesting to see what kind of delays we have here. So they're talking heavy rain tonight into tomorrow, inch plus, I guess 2.54 centimeters plus, since we're in a metric country. I can't do the mile per hour to kilometer one, but 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, rain all weekend, pretty much steady rain all weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be soft. It's going to be wet. And who knows? Maybe guys are staying in Japan till Monday. Honestly, it's even with a small field. If it just rains that much, it's going to be hard to get all the golf in because it's a small field, but essentially it's the same as the weekend. You have 78 golfers, even in a 50 or 36 hole cut event, you have like 70-ish golfers all Saturday, all Sunday. So you're only saving time a little bit on Thursday, Friday. I don't know. That's something to consider. Should we start round 3, like Friday afternoon? Like it is still light out. It's not raining. Friday's looking like the best day. Pull it ahead, play in threesomes. Let's get some golf underway. Maybe all the guys who are playing terrible can go get 9 holes in or something. I don't know.
You very easily see delays. Yeah.
There should be delays. I mean, I'm just kind of expecting it. Your quick thoughts on the Skins game?
I'm excited for the Skins game.
Is back. I thought I was, and then somebody ruined it for me. I'm still going to watch it. It was one of my favorite things because it was like this standalone thing on Thanksgiving, and you had it was a holiday. You're off anyway. You had this fun golf tournament, and then you start watching some of these old ones. It's like, oh, these guys were broke. Like not broke, but compared to the golfers now, like it was big money. Like they were winning big money way back because they weren't making $3.2 million to win these events. Obviously that's a bigger one, but all these guys playing are just rich as shit. It doesn't matter to them. I mean, you could leave with nothing. Obviously it'd be better, but it'd be a lot more fun to me if they were some broke ass guys just coming off the KFT, like the young guys. Like I get you want the big names to draw people in, but it should be, I don't think this is for casual golf fans. I think this is more for actual PGA golf fans. So I think it'd be fine to bring in some of these younger stars. Give me Koiven. Give me, some of the younger guys who haven't made their nut on the tour yet. And
there's guys that are on the bubble,
Yeah, just like shit. I've just made a lot of money making this 30-foot putt because there were 6 skins on the line. That's more interesting. Like Xander doesn't need the money. It does kind of take away from it.
Joel Damon, Harry Higgs, guys that are like towards the bottom of the FedEx Cup, guys that have been on the Corn Ferry Tour, like those are what you want those guys. It's interesting. I feel like all golf is for the hardos. And that's probably golf's problem in terms of like as it
outside of the majors, all golf is kind of for the hardos. Yeah, that's why they make it so hard to watch.
They do. All right,
this will be easy to watch. This should be easy to watch.
Yeah, this is dinner golf.
Yeah. This is starting at like 4:45 for me. I'm going to sit down and watch golf. I'm assuming I probably can't. Like I probably won't be able to find it. I do have like
will probably have some
ESPN Plus. That'll have it.
Yeah.
I always go to Hulu because for some reason it knows I like that and it'll put it on the top when I look for golf on Thursday mornings. It's usually what I'm clicking into to find golf because it's with ESPN and Disney, so it'll have the ESPN feeds right in the app for me there. Okay, that's just a shortcut I've taken. Although I've learned a lot about how to listen. I just downloaded the Westwood One app for sports to listen on radio for some of this stuff. That's awful nice. Yeah, I hate most announcers. Well, just when I'm driving around, it's safer than watching the game and steering like this. So
yeah.
All right.
I just put it in the dash. It's not great.
Always a good idea.
I don't do it when I have my kids in the car. So
yeah. When you're not carrying kids, there's no rules. I don't even buckle up. Just let it beep. I'm kidding. Enjoy the golf. We'll see you when we see you. Have fun at the Zozo /Baycurrent. Enjoy the evening golf, overnight golf. Go Rico. Suave.